It's Brad Sussman in for Brian. We are joined by one of the most prolific conservative writers, Ann Coulter. Good morning, Ann. It's great to have you on.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Oh, my gosh. Here it is. The new year. It's 2020, a new decade. And
it's a MAGA Monday, by the way. That's what we've coined it.
Oh, I like that. Thank you. You did that for me.
Yes, we did.
If only we could get Trump to start acting like it's always MAGA Monday.
Oh, my gosh. Did you ever think you'd see Democrats complaining that we took out one of the worst terrorists in U.S. history, and they're up there saying we didn't have enough proof to do it? I mean, this is just craziness what's going on with the Democrats on Capitol Hill and the Democrats in the media.
No, it totally is, and it's the theme of my last book, Resistance is Futile, which is that, you know, even when Trump does something boneheaded, even when there are things to complain about, and there are a lot of things to complain about, Democrats somehow come up with an attack on him that allows him to come out smelling like roses. It's always the worst possible thing to say. And here, you know, if they wanted to steal back some of those Trump voters, as I keep reminding people, I get worried about Republican overconfidence. I've heard about a lot of landslides coming, like when McCain was running against Obama. I prefer to go into elections completely pessimistic, expect the worst, fight for every last vote. Trump won by 80,000 votes in 2016. He needs his base.
Yes.
The Democrats, I mean, the smart ones know, which is why I think in the end, I mean, who knows, but with these Democrats, that Biden will be the one to limp across the finish line because he's not completely out of his mind. But you know, the smart ones, you've seen them writing op-eds and the advice from David Axelrod, Frank Bruni, Thomas Friedman. They all keep saying, you know, settle down, Democrats, settle down with the woke stuff. What you want to do not come out for open borders. If they wanted to go after Trump, point out he hasn't built the wall. That was his signature campaign promise. The Democrats, a lot of them used to be ferociously anti-illegal immigration for the obvious reason that it hurts the middle class. Bernie Sanders sounded like Trump on immigration. Harry Reid on the Senate floor denounced anchor babies. Di-Fi was defending Dianne Feinstein. Used to be one of my favorite senators because she was very, very strong on patriotic immigration. You young people may not remember this, but when I was working for the Senate Judiciary Committee, it was after the Rodney King thing, and some border agents were caught on tape, which was much more unusual back then, whacking an illegal alien coming across the border. I mean, they didn't kill him or anything, but they were whacking him with their batons. And the left tried to turn that into, you know, a big, like, Rodney King thing. Dianne Feinstein and Barbara Boxer went to the Senate floor to defend the border agents. This is a natural Democratic position. They always pretend they care about the working class. If they just edged back into that, there's plenty to complain about with Trump, including, I mean, I was tweeting, I didn't really watch them, but I sort of monitored the Sunday morning shows, and it's just, you know, 100% Middle East, Middle East, Middle East. And as I tweeted out last night, dozens of Americans died yesterday and will die today because of Mexican heroin, Mexican fentanyl, Mexican drunk driving illegal aliens. And all we talk about is the Middle East. That's such a huge opening for Democrats. But no, like you say, they have to come out and start talking about what a great guy Soleimani was. It's really uncanny how they figure out the exact position to make Trump look good.
Yeah, and if Trump hadn't done anything and this Soleimani would have, you know, had another strike, then it would have been Trump's fault for not doing anything. So he can't win.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, Ann Coulter joining us now. And, you have a great column that you wrote on your website, anncoulter.com. And it talks about the fact that, you know, we did take out this terrorist and he was, you know, killed a lot of Americans overseas, maimed a lot of our soldiers, a really nasty guy. But, you know, talk about, as you said, what's going on here in the United States with people who have come across our border illegally. How many people get killed by illegals every year? And the numbers are astounding.
Yes, I mean, the conservative excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold. The conservative estimate I came up with, counting deaths from Mexican heroin, Mexican fentanyl, Mexican meth, and that's not all heroin, meth, and fentanyl deaths, but in the case of heroin, most of all, about 90% is Mexican heroin. And that's from the great liberal reporter, but he is a liberal, Sam Quinones from, he was an investigative reporter for years with the LA Times, and I highly recommend his book. I never, ever recommend anyone else's book, but you should all read Dreamland about the opioid crisis. Really interesting reporting, really interesting book. But, he said over and over again, 90% of the heroin in this country comes across our border. He is a liberal, so he concludes by saying, of course, a wall won't do anything about it. Okay. Yeah. We'll leave the reporting to you and the solutions to us. But in any event, if you add those deaths up, plus drunk driving, and there are a lot of drunk driving, illegal aliens, and legal aliens, to be honest, especially with the anchor baby policy, the absolute conservative estimate is about 30,000 Americans a year are dying. Well, I would say because we don't have a border wall, but from people coming across our southern border, drug cartels bringing their product across our southern border. And I don't know, whatever national security is, shouldn't it have some relationship to number of Americans dying because of it? And that's what was starting to drive me crazy. I was imagining how Fox and CNN would be, what their big stories would be during Hitler's rise to power. It would be...
It's hilarious.
The Chaco War in South America. Hitler invades Poland. Well, and repercussions after Peru and I don't even know what the other country was, Bolivia, getting this dispute over a small region. No, can we talk about what matters to Americans? No. The media will not avert its eyes from the Middle East, and it reminds me. I didn't mention this in the column. It reminds me of that part of Orwell's 1984, where to distract the populace, they keep flipping back and forth between war with Oceania. No, now we're at war with East Asia.
Yeah.
It's a weird substitute for bread and circuses. We'll just keep you distracted with some other irrelevant crisis in some other part of the world. And as we all know, Trump does get distracted easily. What's in the media does seem to affect what he's doing.
It's amazing how the media tends to create crisis unless it is hurting the Americans. Then we can't talk about it because, that's off limits.
Right. It really is strange. If a Martian landed, he would think that the principal threat to Americans today isn't Mexican heroin, Mexican fentanyl, Mexican drug cartels and gangs streaming across our own border. It's, oh my gosh, how many Iranians killed Americans today? Well, that would be zero again.
Absolutely. Yeah, here in the United States, not the case. They're not over here right now. Ann Coulter, we appreciate your time this morning. Got all sorts of great books. Go to our website, AnnCoulter.com, and you can actually pick up those books there. Ann, thanks for the time this morning.
Good to talk to you.